Mike Hill, State of Corruption. We are not moving out of this parking spot. That's right. We are on the president's desk. You haven't heard the president talk about why that plane left, turned around, Pence? I told you it was drugs. 2 weeks later, the drug cartel came out and said, we got a drug dealer. Just remember, the president has said a word. Vice President Pence hasn't said a word. Because it is a cartel. And it is the deep state. And we're staying right on point. So we've started something brand new. We're going, how can I get you to understand this and see the evidence and the witnesses intimately? So we're going to call this the witness list. And for these next videos, I'm going to introduce you to important witnesses that you need to make a deal with, Mr. President, that you need to get protection for. Because they're extraordinarily dangerous to the corrupt. Okay, you ready? Today's witness is Aaron Day. To have you understand what I did was, years ago I started State of Corruption, but also as a platform for people could go to. I saw what happened in the courtrooms. The corruption in family court, the corruption in big banks, saw people losing their homes. I saw the elderly losing their home. So I built a platform for tens of millions of dollars. Some rich guy going, I want to help. Let me hear your story. Funny how many people show up when you want to help them. And the stories kept coming in. From drugs to crime to courts to family court. It was immense, and yet at the same time they traveled the same routes. So I would have people who were desperate come forwards. This one particular time, somewhere in the middle of this journey. But why Aaron Day was my first witness that I'm giving you and telling you what he can give us is that he is what tied the ends together. I knew of the corruption in the state from Shaheen and the Billy tax and the extortion from people and business owners, the control that Shaheen had over the courtrooms, along with other law firms such as Divine Millimat and Alex Walker. So I got that end of the piece, which is why you saw me put their faces up on my signs years before a cartel. I knew the machine, and I know how it was built and who was involved. But I didn't have the cartel. I didn't know Aganos, Cruz, or Grinder. Never heard their names before. Drugs and out of treatment centers, hospitals. Yes, I was hearing that. Those people were coming to me, which was all putting pieces together for me. But then I started meeting with Aaron, who came to me, when I tell you scared, beyond scared. Aaron from Bedford was friends with the town manager named Mike Especki. Mike Especki, the town manager, who also wanted to run for governor, who I believe had a deeper inside understanding of everything. Almost like somebody who was there. But he went to Aaron Day and said, Aaron, Aganos, Cruz, and Griner, this cartel is going to murder my son. Aaron asked him why. Turns out that his son got caught with a tractor-trailer load of fentanyl and machine guns. Except for the cops let Mike Especki's son go. And Aaron and Aganos' son go also. Mikey Specky, knowing who Aganos was now, fears that his son's going to be murdered as a witness. He gives this information and evidence to Aaron Day. More evidence, like Specky working for the DEA, telling about phone calls regarding Anagos and several business partners. So now, Specky and Darren meets me. Somewhere over 6 times, between offices, going out for breakfast, we kept meeting. I want you to also understand that those meetings with Mike Specky was not always alone either, with Aaron Day and myself and Mike Specky. One time, it was Congressman Ginta, who was the standing congressman for New Hampshire at the time, and his press secretary was with him. They listened to it all. They retorted. They know what Aganos is. And then you'll also see Eddie Edwards, who ran for Congress. You know, he got beat by a guy named Pappas. You know the same guy? He's owned by the drug cartel. See, Eddie's? So if you helped us then, when we asked you to help, you might be congressman. Then again, you might be dead. But it's funny how life turns out. Specky and Aaron knew the other side of the coin that I had. I knew how they were protecting. I know the means of the courts, but I didn't know that it was involved in protecting a drug cartel. And that cartel's money was in the same banks, protected the same way. Everything that Specky had with the DEA, with these banks, meshed exactly what I had. So now I understood what Shaheen had was this one machine selling protection. Not just to pharmaceutical companies, big banks, insurers. This is what I had targeted. I know that they had cheated me. And which is why the insurers and the banking commission wanted releases from me. But they were protecting the cartel's money the same way. So here's the marriage. How to have saved Aaron Day's life was the same way I was saving my own. Aaron got up on the sign, you go out on the radio, go out there talking about it. In between time, they tried to murder me, and Aaron Day witnessed that. Isn't that right, FBI? You know exactly what that was. And then right after that, they went from Aaron's liability from $2 million to $20 million. That's how you buy Aaron Day. So all of a sudden, he went from working on my account to be governor as my campaign manager to sabotaging me, which is what he did. He took Eileen Landy, who we brought in as a paralegal, and she was a good paralegal. I mean, this woman could get into computers, files. She had over 200 corporations that Aganos had. She had Shaheen owning pain clinics. I mean, this woman could dig into it like she was something before. I never walked into her office where she wasn't talking a different language. And sometimes with an English accent. And I'm not kidding. But when Aaron turned, she turned. And you'll be happy to hear that these two wonderful couples just recently got married. Right. When I tell you they had nothing in common other than this corruption. Nothing. Somebody's worried about testifying. See? And then Greg Theodore, someone else that I helped from being homeless, helping him with his kids. He turned his back too, to the point where I met with the FBI in front of Greg. They told me he was a mole. To his face, in front of me. Aaron Day had turned them all for $20 million and a bullet in the face. That's what it takes. But I want you to understand, you know all those witnesses that were in fear? They gave them all up. That's why they're important as witnesses. That's why, President Trump, you need to speak to them. How about this? Shaheen only took it to a Senate seat. He got Hassan in. Once he owned Day, they had no choice but to do what he asked them to do. You know what he says? Run against Ayotte as a libertarian. 99% of what was voted for him came off of Ayotte. Ayotte lost in less than 1,000. He had more than 30,000. You figure it out. And you know all the brochures that went out in the mail? Aaron Day never had a penny. What's the bet that Shaheen paid for those? You see? Once you sell your soul even a little bit, they own the rest of it. So you think about this witness. Of all, they can get you, Shaheen. They can get you into the deep state. They can get you in the banking department. They can get you into those drug banks that they told me about, that they had witnesses in these banks. Right. From charitable gaming to the Liquor Commission. Into everything. See? Shaheen turned around and defended a drug cartel the only way you can. Threaten the witnesses, destroy the evidence, and have his people be your people to let you know every step that he's taking. How's that? That's exactly how they did it, before and after. I'm going to keep pulling these little witnesses out, and you're going to see how they all connect, but what they can give you. Mike Gill, State of Corruption.